Good evening. This is John Albrecht, and you are here for Monday Team Talk. We're going to talk tonight about, can I afford life's abundance? And, it's a good question because people are on very tight budgets at this point in our history. And I think as long as I have been with Life's Abundance, that's been for 20 years, I've been saying that. But one thing I will say, by the way, just as a little aside, is that even though that has always been true, our company has always done very, very well. And our team has always done very, very well. And this is exactly why you want to have a plan B or more than one egg in your basket. Don't just have the traditional regular job and count on that. We're in a different day and age. You might want to get involved with our company and be aware that there is an opportunity for you here in what I would like to call, and many call, a recession-proof industry. That's pets. Even in a down economy, and maybe I would say especially in a down economy, people still do what's best for their pets. That's why the pet industry right now is at $120 billion. And it's climbing all the time. It doesn't seem to ever stop. Let me just start off. I have three main points, and then I'm gonna move into something else if time permits. And so the first question I would ask somebody, or even all of you tonight who are concerned whether or not Life's Abundance is becoming a product that's out of reach financially, is what should a pet food cost? Have you ever thought about that? I don't think people think about that. I want to give you some perspective on that idea in the next couple of minutes and give you some things to really compare to, okay? Because here's the next question I would add to that. What should it cost you to eat every day? Have you ever even thought about that? Right now, listen, I'll give you a statistic that our government gave to me and all of you if you search the web for this. But the average American spends between $8 and $20 every day to eat. Did you know that? Now, if you think about it, that's fairly reasonable, because if you've ever been through, an average drive-through out there, you're probably spending $6 to $8 right there on a fast food meal. You're probably, your eggs and your bacon in the morning or whatever you eat in the morning, and then your dinner, you add that up, and I'm sure you're right in between that $8 and $20, if not maybe sometimes even more. And so when you think about it, let's just go middle of the road. Let's just say I spend $10 a day on food. I think that's very conservative. I spend $10. We have a 30-day month. I'm spending $300 a month personally on food. Okay, so if I'm eating for $300 a month, and think about that, what would you be eating, for $10 a day? Would you be eating fresh fruits and vegetables every day? Would you be getting your healthy dose of live probiotics every day? Would you be getting a healthy dose of vitamin C and calcium and all the balanced nutrition, the right amount of fiber, fat, and carbohydrates in your diet and all that? No, you're saying, I'm hungry, I need something to eat, right? Well, if you're eating for $300 a month and not eating very well, what should it cost? The original question, what should it cost to feed my pet? Now, let me give you some other things that I think are pretty thought-provoking. And that is a cup of coffee. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing, driving, going to the Starbucks or the Dunkin' Donuts or the Tim Hortons or wherever for your coffee. But if you are, you're probably spending $3, $4 at least on that one visit for your coffee. But, some of you go to the Speedway gas station or the whatever gas station, right? The Mobile, and you're a little more affordable, maybe $1.50, maybe $2. Let's go to $2. If you spent $2 once a day on coffee, that you can do the math, that's $60 a month, right? $60 on just a beverage. It's not nutritional. I'm not saying it's bad for you, but it's not a meal. And some people get blown away when a bag of dog food costs $60. Let's say you have that coffee twice a day. Now you're talking $120 every month to have your coffee fix. What about potato chips? I got thinking about this. Another food that isn't a meal, and it isn't anything, but we love them, right? We eat potato chips, and we sometimes we do maybe eat them like a meal, if we eat too many of them, right? How much are potato chips? On average, potato chips cost $4 to $8 a pound. Can you imagine? Do you ever think about it that way? You mean my potato chips can cost as much as $8 a pound? It's not even a meal. So think about that. Now, what about ground beef? Ground beef at Walmart right now, just looking online at Walmart today, was $5.72 a pound for ground chuck. $5.72 a pound. A really high-end dog food like Life's Abundance is less than half that cost. Less than half the cost of your ground chuck. What about a gallon of milk? Everybody drink milk. A gallon of milk in my neck of the woods in Florida here is $4.99. $4.99. Now, granted, the milk will last me, several days, but it's $4.99, and we don't bat an eye. All I'm trying to get at right now is, what should it cost to feed my pet? Are we honest with ourselves about that question? Or do we look at a bag of dog food and say, well, oh my goodness, I have sticker shock. That bag looks expensive. Well, not when you consider what we're going to teach you tonight, that it may last you 2 months, right? But there's something about the American consumer when they're buying their pet food, they don't think like that. What do you think it should cost for a bag of dog food? What do you think it should cost to feed your dog? It's a legitimate question to say, how much would you spend on your pet's food every day? Before you ever tell them the cost of Life's Abundance, it's also a legitimate question to say, how much do you think you should spend on your pet's nutrition every month? Forget the day, because Americans don't think about per day, what I spend today on my food. But maybe they do it per month, right? So what do you think it should cost this month to feed your pet? $20? I mean, you can't even eat yourself for the day for 20. So let's bump it up to, should it cost $50? Should it cost $80? Maybe $100? But I hope I'm getting everybody to think right now, because realistically, it costs money to eat, and it costs money to eat well. If we were talking about what would it cost the average American to eat every day well, then we'd be talking maybe more. It could be upwards of beyond $20 a day, $25, even $30 a day. I don't know, but I haven't looked into that myself. If you own a pet, one of the first things you should be thinking of is, how am I going to take care of this pet, right? Not how much love is this pet going to give me and how much satisfaction am I going to get out of seeing this dog every day or this cat every day, but how am I going to care for them, and what is it going to cost me, right? And there you go, Sean, you said it. That's my next point. Thank you. You can't afford not to do well by your pet nutritionally. And inferior foods lead to problems. They lead to what we would call nutritional deficiencies. Now, the veterinary industry and the pharmaceutical industry might call these diseases. But I tend to believe that they're not always diseases, that they are nutritional deficiencies. And so when we go for that budget bag of dog food that they sell at the farmer's market, that is disgusting, because that's all we think about our pets. That's as much as we care about our pets, and then have it sit in the garage, right, until it's gone. I mean, so there's going to be problems with that animal, right? And so you have to think about, well, because one visit to the vet clinic could have wiped out the savings that you think you've gotten from the budget food, right? Just one visit. And here's another thing worth considering. What if Life's Abundance costs more than your middle of the road food, like your Diamond or your Blue Buffalo or your Science Diet or your Purina Pro Plan? What if Life's Abundance was $5 more every month? We got to look at the difference, right? What's the difference in the price? So it's worth every penny to spend the difference. Now, I've told this story before. I'm gonna tell it again. And I had a call one day. It was one of the saddest calls I've ever taken in this business, and it was from a person who knew me, and they knew about our product, and they opted to go middle of the road. They opted to go, I'm going to save that $5 a month. Whoopee, I could buy another Starbucks coffee. Well, years went by, and I got a phone call, and he said, John, and I said, yeah, how you doing? He said, well, not so good. I'm wondering, are you still with Life's Abundance? I said, of course I am. And he said, well, I'm, very interested. I got a new puppy, and I'm very interested in switching to Life's Abundance. And I says, oh yeah, well, tell me about that. What's going on? He says, well, I just lost my other dog, but I think I lost him early. And I says, oh, really? What happened? He says, well, he got cancer. And I said, oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Of course, I don't know the details. And he said, yeah, but the dog wasn't, and I forget how old the dog was. It wasn't very old. And he says, I'm convinced that it was food related. I'm convinced it was nutritional. I said, well, let me ask you something. I said, why did you not feed Life's Abundance all this time? And he says, well, you were a little more expensive. I said, let me ask you a question. I don't want to, hurt your feelings or make you feel bad or make the situation any worse. I said, but what if Life's Abundance costs $5 more? Because Dennis Berardi used to say this all the time to me. He said, John, so he always assumed that we were more expensive. He's the president of the company. He's the founder. He always assumed we were more expensive. And he always would come in with that idea that, well, we might be $5 and $10 more expensive, and he would give all the qualities and benefits of the food. So I asked this guy, I said, what if we were $5 to $10 more expensive? He said, John, that question doesn't offend me. He said, I would let you know that if it cost $50 more every month, and if that meant that I still had my other dog, if that meant I still had years left in his life and that he didn't have to suffer the way he suffered, I would have spent that $50, wouldn't even have batted an eye. And we have to educate the consumer that the way they're thinking or the way they're not even thinking is wrong. And they really need to think about the quality that they really do want versus the savings and all that stuff that they've been programmed to want. When's your next deal? When's your next coupon? And do you have coupons and all that kind of stuff? One of the things that we always teach, and we want you to begin to do, is to educate people like I've just done. Take the best of what you think I said today, whatever resonated with you, and use it, right? Use it on, don't go as long as I have. I've already been like 15 minutes here. Don't do that. But, take something and use it. Did you know the average American spends $8 to $20 a day on their food? What do you think it should cost to feed your pet every day? That would be a good one-liner. So use that. Okay. And so Valerie says $1,000 would have fed her a long time. Yeah. So put over $1,000 to get her healthy again. Yeah. That's what I started off saying. You can't afford not to. So anyway, we want to get you to do that, introduce the concept to get people thinking. And then we want to get them to think about what pet food really costs. And that the bag is irrelevant. There's bags behind me. They're all different sizes. You shop for pet food the way you shop for your hamburger, the way you shop for your chicken, the way you shop for your meats, right? It is by the pound. So our calculator helps with that. We give a per pound breakdown of what our food costs. And of course, I think, what is it lately? I forget. It's on average is about $2.35 a pound, Life's Abundance. That's well within range of what the premium pet foods cost at the pet store. Well within range. I mean, we're on the middle to low end of that premium pet food section. Shirley's saying $2.50. I guess it depends on which food and what size and all that. But even there, that is a very decent price. Now, and then it goes beyond that, though. It goes beyond that because just because it's $2.50 a pound, well, how many pounds do I need to feed my dog every day? Well, probably not pounds, probably just cups, right? And so you are looking at what does it cost to feed, not only how much does it cost per pound, but how much does it cost to feed every day to my particular dog based on their weight, right? And so we also want to know how much is that going to turn into every month, right? So we have a bag of dog food, guys. Our All Stage Life 40-pound bag of dog food is near $100. Okay, but and you might just get blown away when you see the $100 bag of dog food, but that's 40 pounds, right? How long is that bag food going to last? We can maybe cut it in half. Maybe it's going to be 2 months. So now it really only costs $45 a month, right? Or $50 a month, whatever the exact price really is. And so it's not like that. So even at $50 a month, let's go back to what we started off with, right? We started off saying, how much does it cost you to eat every month? If $10 a day, $300 a month for you. And I guarantee you're not getting all the 90 plus ingredients that are located in the Life's Abundance kibble that are giving your pet a balanced diet every single day. Listen, guys, learn this skill. Okay, this is a skill. And I call it a skill because every one of you can do this. It doesn't take talent to do what I just showed you. There's a tool. There's a tool that you can just go to and get the answers, right? But if you can just communicate to people, use this new skill and communicate to people, hey, you'll get past this objection. And this is one of the top objections. How much does it cost? Well, that's an objection. Even while they're asking the question, it's an objection. So you don't just come right out and answer the question. Well, let me look at what size bag do you buy? Well, that bag costs $100. No. We don't want to go there. We want to say something back. Well, how much do you think it should cost? How much do you spend on your pet's nutrition every month? And get into that. And then at the very least say, well, before I answer that question, how much does your pet weigh? So that I can tell you what it will cost per day, per month, and per feeding, right? So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you being with me here as always on a Monday night, and we're going to leave it there. And so we'll talk to you again. We'll see you on Friday with Regina on Finish Line Friday, and we'll see you next Monday night here. Okay? Have a great week.